Vegas, the city of dazzling lights and endless possibilities, was more than just a playground for gamblers in the 1960s. For nightclub entertainers, it was a goldmine. These performers didn't just earn top salaries, they enjoyed luxurious perks that came with working in the city's top hotels. It was a time when the mob ran much of the casino business, and stealing a little bit from each casino transaction was an open secret. Despite this, entertainers flocked to Vegas. They knew it was a stepping stone to bigger things. For young talents, a gig in Vegas was like a golden ticket. It could launch their careers, opening doors to TV shows, tour, and even movie roles. Bob Newhart, a veteran of the entertainment world, explained it simply: playing Vegas put you at a certain level. It was not just about the money. It was about the experience, honing skills in front of live audiences every night. For performers, Vegas was like a school, teaching them how to connect with people and be confident on stage. Take Anka, for example. He knew that performing in Vegas was crucial for his growth as an entertainer. You really find out who you are, he said, what you can do, how to make the audience feel. For singers, Vegas offered top-notch facilities, great musicians, and a chance to really shine. Each hotel had a house orchestra, and the sound quality was exceptional. Tony Bennett, a legendary singer, noted, "There isn't any deal that you can't have if you're a performer to make sure the job is done right. The sound, the lights, everything, there's no better setup anywhere." Bennett knew many of these hotels intimately. He started his Vegas journey at the El Rancho Vegas in the early 1950s and went on to perform at some of the most famous venues, including the Dunes, Sahara, Sands, Riviera, and finally Caesar's Palace, which offered him a contract for life in 1969. Bennett's success was unmatched, with his signature song, "I Left My Heart in San Francisco," becoming a hit that many Vegas singers covered. But Bennett wasn't the only star. Vic Damone, another big name, had a different story. He was deeply influenced by Frank Sinatra, even filling in for him on radio once. Damone's smooth baritone voice and good taste in music made him a standout. However, his career faced challenges, especially with the rise of rock and roll. Sinatra's influence and a shady business deal nearly sank Damone's career, but Vegas saved him again. A steady gig at the Frontier Hotel, paying him $30,000 a week for 16 weeks a year, helped him stay afloat. The lounges in Vegas became crucial for entertainers in the 1960s. These venues were more than just places to perform, they were traffic drivers for the casinos. Patrons could come and go freely, keeping the crowds fresh and the casinos busy. Shows ran non-stop, and famous performers often dropped by to join in, adding to the excitement. Variety magazine reported in 1965 that cocktail lounges were becoming major operations, sometimes even more profitable than the main showrooms. Hotels expanded and upgraded their lounges, giving them new names and booking top talent. The Flamingo's Driftwood Room featured jazz legends like Sarah Vaughan and Lionel Hampton. The Tropicana's Blue Room brought in big names like Louis Armstrong and George Shearing. Some performers found success primarily in these lounges. Sonny King, a former boxer turned singer, spent 13 years at the Sands, captivating audiences with his heartfelt performances. His rendition of My Way was so powerful it could overshadow even Frank Sinatra. Another star, Buddy Greco, started as a pianist with Benny Goodman before finding success in Vegas. His cool, jazzy style made him a favorite, and he even landed a hit record and a role in a Jerry Lewis movie. Vegas was a melting pot for all kinds of performers. Jazz singers like Peggy Lee and Mel Torme, easy listening stars like Andy Williams and Johnny Mathis, and romantic singers like Robert Goulet all found success on the Vegas stage. Even the legendary Steve Lawrence and Eydie Gorm married in the El Rancho Vegas and became part of Jack Entratter's team at the Sands. Vegas in the 1960s was more than just a city of casinos. It was a launchpad for dreams where entertainers could hone their craft, gain fame, and sometimes find a second chance. For those who worked hard and seized the opportunities, Vegas offered a path to stardom that few other places could match. Las Vegas in the 1950s and 1960s was a city where stars could shine bright but also face tough challenges. Two of the biggest names in entertainment during this time were Judy Garland and Eddie Fisher. Both had incredible talents but struggled with personal issues that often made headlines. Judy Garland was known for her stunning voice and her role as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. However, her time in Vegas was marked by struggles. She played at the Flamingo Hotel often but had a tough time with the noisy crowds. In 1957, she had to leave a show early because the crowd was too rowdy. The next year, she was so nervous before a show at the Sahara that an expert in hypnosis helped calm her down. Despite these problems, Garland was a huge draw. Her shows got standing ovations, and she even got her engagement extended. She usually performed late at night because she couldn't sleep well otherwise. Yet when she returned to the Sahara in 1965, she was so shaky that the hotel put spotters near the stage to make sure she didn't fall. Critics noted that her voice sometimes sounded brittle, but they still praised her as a great performer. Tragically, her struggles continued. By 1967, she was so affected by drugs that she canceled a show after learning of a famous actor's death. She died a year and a half later from a drug overdose. Eddie Fisher was another star who had a dazzling career but faced personal turmoil. He was known for his rich, romantic voice and hit songs like I'm Walking Behind You. In Vegas, he would often open his shows by flirting with women in the audience, which added to the excitement. However, his personal life was a mess. He married Debbie Reynolds but later left her for Elizabeth Taylor, who then left him for Richard Burton. This constant changing of partners played out on stage, causing tension. In 1957, while performing at the Tropicana, Debbie joined him on stage in a headdress, which made Eddie furious. Later, after they split, he still performed at the Tropicana, even serenading Taylor with songs they had sung together. Despite his personal troubles, Fisher kept performing and even married Taylor in Las Vegas. But by the late 1960s, his memory was failing, and he lost big games, leading to his bankruptcy. His story shows both the allure and the dark side of Vegas. While Garland and Fisher were heart-on-their-sleeve performers who drew big crowds, Barbra Streisand had a different start. She was fresh from New York and didn't fit the Vegas mold when she first came to the city in 1963. Liberace, a famous Vegas performer, took her under his wing. At first, her straightforward style didn't impress the crowd. But Liberace changed her opening act, giving her a build-up and introducing her as his discovery. This helped her win over the audience. After a successful stint, she landed a role in a Broadway musical and a long-term contract in Vegas. However, she didn't return for 6 years, this time as the headliner at the New International Hotel, with Elvis Presley set to perform right after her. Elvis Presley, known as the King of Rock and Roll, had a complicated relationship with Vegas. At first, his manager, Colonel Parker, discouraged him from performing live, thinking Elvis should focus on movies. But Elvis loved Vegas because it offered him a break from the stress of his life. He would often stay at the Sahara Hotel after film shoots, enjoying the shows and the lack of schedules. He visited Vegas for Christmas in 1961 and ended up staying for a month. Elvis loved Vegas because it felt like a place where time stood still. He could escape and just be himself without pressure. Despite his initial hesitation, Vegas became a second home to him, a place to relax and recharge. These performers, Garland, Fisher, Streisand, and Elvis, each had their own struggles and triumphs in Vegas. They showed that while the city offered incredible opportunities, it also came with its own unique challenges. Their stories are a mix of glamour and grit, reminding us that even the brightest stars face tough times. In 1963, Elvis Presley returned to Las Vegas not with Priscilla, who was still waiting for him back in Memphis, but to film a new movie called Viva Las Vegas. This film was different from his usual movies, which were often just musicals set in different places. Viva Las Vegas had a bigger budget and a big-name director, George Sidney, known for musicals like Anchors Away. Elvis's co-star was Anne Margaret, a young and popular actress and dancer from Sweden who had recently made a splash in a musical called Bye Bye Birdie. The movie was about Elvis's character, a race car driver trying to save up money to race in the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Anne Margaret's character was a hotel swim instructor who meets Elvis by chance. Their character's romance was the main focus, with music and dance numbers that were more lively than what fans were used to. Despite some issues on set like Colonel Parker, Elvis's manager, wanting less screen time for Anne Margaret, the film marked a change. For the first time, Elvis had a co-star who could hold her own on screen. However, Elvis's personal life was not as glamorous as his films. Priscilla, back in Memphis, was upset when she saw news stories about Elvis and Anne Margaret. She demanded answers from Elvis, but he denied any serious relationship, saying Anne Margaret was just a friend. This made Priscilla feel ignored and left behind. While Elvis filmed Viva Las Vegas, Colonel Parker was worried about the movie's budget and the fact that Anne Margaret was stealing the spotlight. Some changes were made to the script to keep Elvis as the main focus. Despite these challenges, the movie managed to capture the excitement of Las Vegas in its golden age. When Viva Las Vegas was released, it wasn't considered a masterpiece, but it had its charm, especially the title song, which became very popular. The song's fun and catchy tune, combined with Elvis's energetic performance, captured the spirit of Las Vegas during its heyday. Around the same time, another big event shook the music world. The Beatles arrived in the United States in 1964, taking over the music charts and captivating audiences with their energetic performances. Their impact was so huge that it changed the music scene forever. Las Vegas, always a city of entertainment, welcomed the Beatles for a concert. Due to huge demand, the show was moved from the Sahara Hotel to a larger venue, showing how popular these British musicians had become. Las Vegas in the early 1960s was a city full of energy and change. For Elvis, it was a place where he could escape to work and have fun, but also where he faced the challenges of fame and personal relationships. For music lovers, it was a city that brought together some of the biggest names in entertainment, forever changing the landscape of popular music and culture.